Hello, and welcome back to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. I am Andrew McKee. And wow, it has been another week, and what a week. Oh, I'm over in Alabama right now helping my parents with their new house. So, yeah, I am I haven't felt this domestic in a long time. I I am working on the oddest things, everything from wiring to grout lines. It's an interesting time. Yeah. It is definitely an interesting time. But the good news is next week I'm on the road again and heading over to Sherwood Forest Fair. So I'll get to enjoy that a bit and go back. Yeah, that's 8 weekends of fair straight that I will, yeah, get to be back in the Austin area. So, that's always been like home to me. So I am going to really enjoy that. Sherwood is one of my favorite fairs, and it's for a reason. So yeah, well, hey, Janine and Kevin and Harvey and Lisa and Kathy and Dan and Sarit and wow, yeah, and Kat and Jan. Yeah, thanks for joining. Windy, Colorado, Janine. Excellent. Yes, that is definitely. I can imagine. One of the benefits of being far south is I don't have to deal with a lot of that too much, except maybe in hurricane season. But other than that, not too bad. And thanks, Harvey. I appreciate that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it'll be just an interesting drive. Now, the bad news is next week I will be driving on Monday. I wasn't planning on doing that, but a good friend of mine needed some help with something, so it worked out. It had to be on Monday. And because of that, I'm going to have to cancel next week's show, unfortunately. I've been trying to avoid that so much, but sometimes I've got to be a good Boy Scout and help out my friends. So, yes, I will have to cancel next week's show, but the good news is all the shows after that should be good. At least for during Sherwood, I think. I don't think I'll have to miss anything for after that, so it should be 8 straight weekends of show. Yes. As you can tell, I'm trying really hard to not miss shows this year. I know last year I missed way too many, and I don't want that to happen again. Right, I totally get that. I totally get that. Yeah, that's kind of it. And just you gotta help out the friends. That's always important. Yeah, hey, and I was a Boy Scout for 2 whole weeks, so must have rubbed off a little. Yeah, that is a true story. It was actually 2 weeks. Wasn't really for me. I appreciated the theory, but the practice, it was suburban. Yeah, suburbia Boy Scouts. They didn't want to do anything. They just wanted to have pool parties and hang out and have parents network. It was not my jam. I wanted to learn about stuff and really, yeah, but that wasn't really them. It would have been maybe a little bit of that and 90% doing nothing. So, not my thing. I don't know. Did any of you have good experiences with scouting? I really didn't, but certainly not the horrendously bad. Just the location of the scouts for me was not. Yeah, they weren't really. I don't. They weren't really that good. But yeah. Anyway, that's. I will be. I will be on the road and doing a full day of driving on Monday. I'll get in the evening there, and I just won't have time to set up everything for a show. But have the week to get everything cleared and ready, and then boom, weekend of fair. So, oh really? That's great, Kevin. Yeah, I've known people who did, and I think it's like most things. It just depends on. It's like the SCA with fair. I mean, some areas are phenomenal. They're wonderful. But depending on where in the country you are, some not so good. The people running that area are just they're not great. And that's true for most things, I suppose. So I get it. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you get that. You can get sort of a conflict of interest sometimes. Wow. Okay. Okay, good for you. I mean, it sounds like you a really positive experience, and um, you learned a lot. So I'm envious because I wanted to do that. I would have been the guy who had a ridiculous number of badges, and yeah, I honestly, if I found a good group for Boy Scouts as a kid, I probably would have been a camping fiend at Faire. And as it is now, I'm more of a city boy who doesn't camp. So what might have been, right? You never know. All those things as a kid, they really shape you in ways you don't even always realize at any point. But the more I think about it, the more I realize how much a lot of these little things growing up really made me who I am. And I realized so many things were training for being a performer at Faire. It's odd. It really, a lot of things helped. It is a strange journey, but that's life. Oh, anyway, yes, it is. It's going to be a good week. I'm going to get a lot of things done here, head back to Texas, and then I'll have 2 months in Texas. And yeah, for any of you who have not been to the Sherwood Forest Fair, if you do get a chance, I highly recommend it. It is one of the better fairs in the country. I think I can say that without any reservation. For me, it's one of my favorites, but even going fully unbiased, I can't imagine it not being on a top 10 list of most everyone. It's just that good. It really is. I mean, maybe not people's first, but it's on the list. Definitely. Oh, nice. Good for you. Yeah, I mean, you work so hard to get those. I can imagine you wouldn't want to let them go. I mean, yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, yeah. Boy, I'm really glad they don't do that when I apply for a fair, at a fair. It's like, okay, what's your camping experience? Do you have your own tent? What can you? Well, actually, they do ask sometimes if I'm camping and if I have my own tent, but they don't ask about the experience, so that's nice. That is nice. Oh, it is your favorite fair? I actually did not know that for sure. That's great to hear. I saw that. I saw that. USA Today did rank it as number two in the nation, and yeah. Uh, but again, that all those lists are always a little biased to it. But yeah, it is. At the very least, I can say it has a lot of character. I mean, several fairs do, but it's a very unique character. I can't think of another fair that it reminds me of in any way. It's very unique, which is great because you get that unique feeling and experience there. It's and it's a great community and a lot of fun. It's also very music heavy. They love music at that fair, so I'm definitely biased there. How can you not like a fair that loves music? But of course, being that close to Austin, it's about 45 minutes outside of Austin. Austin is a huge music town, so it makes sense that they would really be into the music. Uh, Definitely does. Yeah, definitely. If you get a chance, and I mean, again, if you can't, totally understandable. But there are several fairs around the country that I think, if you get a chance, it's worth going to, just for the experience, because it is a different experience than other fairs. There are several fairs like that. That's not a bad idea. Making a list of the most unique fairs in the country, because there are a lot of great fairs, but there are only a few fairs that I think are really so unique, you really need to see them. Yeah, yeah, this isn't a bad idea. Trying to put a list together like that. I haven't seen one like that. I think that would work well. Okay, mental note, mental note, we'll talk. Okay. And hey, great to hello from the reference desk. I like that. Anyway, I hope that some of you managed to enjoy Cheap Candy Day yesterday. Um, Hopefully that will that will work because, yeah, I mean, you gotta love Cheap Candy Day. So hopefully you had a good time with that. If not, well, I'll share my experience while you're thinking about it. Um, yeah, it's a well, I'll put it this way. There we go. This is the picture I took today, as a matter of fact. Yeah, this is interesting. I went out. I went out and scouted the area on Saturday just to kind of get an idea of what was around and what was available. And there was a Walgreens and a CVS right next to each other, like they tend to do, that looked like good candidates. So I went back on Sunday, aka Cheap Candy Day, and they cleared out the CVS pretty hard. They had discount signs up, and most of that stuff was gone. But the Walgreens had no discount signs. And it looked like this yesterday. Most of it was still there. So they finally put up a discount sign today. I guess they were thinking maybe because it was the weekend on Sunday, they'd still get some more sales on Sunday. Well, it didn't happen. It was a bad idea. And they put the 50% off today. But all the pickers that normally would go went yesterday. So they still had a ton of stuff. So I'm not saying that, I did really well or anything, but I might have got a few things. In fact, you can see this one right here down in that picture, right over there. Yeah, and I also got a couple of the Russell Stover's hearts thing, and you can see those on the picture as well. So I did go there. I did, and had to, try it out for science. For science, yes. Always for science. Yeah, and you should. You might want to give it a try because the way this was Walgreens, by the way, the way they did it, I think they thought that, and I don't know if that's for all stores, and certainly this is more rural. It's not, well, I guess it is compared to the big cities. It's definitely not a big city area, but. It's over the bay from Mobile, so it's not that not a huge area. But yeah, not as much traffic as I'm used to in Austin. But yeah, I guess they thought that they wouldn't worry about the discount on Sunday, and it really. I'm going to go back tomorrow because I'm curious. Because sometimes if it lasts for a few days, they'll throw in like a 75% off thing, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, right now, those prices, they're reasonable. They're not phenomenal. They're better than you would, they're a decent deal, but they're not phenomenal. If they go to 75%, then it's a really good deal. Chocolate dip croissants, I like it. Oh, I like it. A cartoon about shit. Baldo? Okay, I'm going to look it up because I love that. I love that. Right? And that's the trick. I mean, there's always, usually I like to try to find a Walgreens or CVS or even something else, one of those small places. Sometimes you get a grocery store, but grocery stores normally clear it out immediately. They're very quick with that. Sometimes dollar stores can do discount stuff like that, but it's not quite the same. So yeah, it's worth checking. And generally I like looking for those ones that they just don't get the traffic for whatever reason. Like you have a CVS and Walgreens together, normally one is more frequented than the other. So you get a lot more foot traffic in one. And the other one is normally where you get the good deals, and they still have a lot in stock. So it's an interesting strategy, and it's hard to do it the first year. You almost have to spend a couple of years trying out different things until you get the ins and outs, and then boom, you got it. And year after year, go to the same place, and you will get the deals, and you will truly appreciate the wonders that are Cheap Candy Day. Oh, I love it so. I do love it so. So yeah, I was doing a lot of thinking about, well, about several things in relation to Faire. But it's already 7:16. I might go ahead and do the Faire list real quick because I'm really lucky that the Faire list is not that hard right now. This is one of my favorite times of the year because the Faire list, we're talking about, what is it, 5? Yeah, 5 different fairs going on this weekend. That's about to change because when you start getting to the end of February, beginning of March, it starts taking off. But yeah, right now it's at the slow point, and putting the list together and doing the map is not too hard. In the past, I've had people who helped me with that and put it together, and bless them because they were incredibly helpful. But yeah, not right now. I'm doing it on my own, so it's definitely some work. Yeah, so here let's just jump into the Faire list real quick because why not? You'll notice not too many, just 5, and all very southern, of course, because it is still a little chilly, or as or as Janine said, very windy, depending on what state you're in. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, and yes, I love how well this works now. Oh, all those problems I had last year with the laser pointer, and the new app works so much better. Oh, I love it. Anyway, starting off, we have the Bay Area Renaissance Festival in Dade City, Florida. And this is the second out of 7 weekends. So it's going for a while. And the theme is Highland Fling. Now, this is one of the old fairs. I think the oldest in Florida is from 1979 is when it was founded. So definitely cool. And it goes on for 7 weekends. Jumping over to the east side of Florida, we have the Florida Renaissance Festival, Deerfield Beach. And that's also a pretty old fair too. Certainly not the 70s, but it was founded in 93. But it's in Deerfield Beach, Florida. This is the 3rd out of 8 weekends, and the theme is A Viking's Valor. And okay, well, let's be fair. They have the longest themed weekend names ever. So I summarized. It's actually A Viking's Valor, Shields, Scales, Tails, and Ale. And that is not the longest theme title they have for the weekend. I think somebody's getting paid by the word. I'm just saying that. Okay, jumping over to Arkansas, we have the Arkansas Viking Thing. Yes, that's right, the Arkansas Viking Thing. That's, I think somebody couldn't think of a name for something, so they just called it the Thing. And it was founded last year in Mount Vernon, Arkansas. And it is only 1 weekend, just the 1 weekend for a Viking Fest. And that's cool. And it's at the site of the Arkansas Ren Fair. So good to know. Jumping down to Texas, we have the Enchanted Village Renaissance Fair in High, Texas. Now, this was founded last year, and it's only the 1 weekend. I don't know much about it, but I'm going to try to pay attention for this weekend and see what I can find out, because that's definitely a new fair starting out in Texas. Then jumping over to Arkansas, Arizona. I'm awake. Whew. We're continuing on with the Arizona Renaissance Festival, and that's in Apache Junction, Arizona. And it is the 4th weekend out of 9, so almost halfway through. And the theme is Journeys Through Time. That's right, it's Time Travelers Weekend for them. So yeah, and there we go. That's the fair list. Not too much going on this week, right? I like it. Really easy, really easy. Okay. Nice. Okay. Well, let's jump back to, I guess to me right here. Yeah. Woo. So I was thinking about some of the things going on with Faire and how those trends. And I've been kind of pondering that a lot, like how fairs are evolving, how they're changing, how they're marketing. how they're getting by, how they're making a profit. I mean, this is the way my brain works during the week sometimes. I try to analyze that a little bit and see what I can learn, and it's quite fascinating. But one of the interesting things is how fairs are making money, how they've changed the way that they make income. I mean, back in the day, there were like 3 avenues for a fair to make money. This is going back several decades. Generally, there was just ticket sales, concessions, if they had a piece of it. Smart fairs did. They got in and did the whole, they either controlled the drinks and food, or they partnered with somebody and got a piece of it at least, and that you can make some good income that way. And then souvenirs. And that was most of it right there. That's how they made income. I mean, they also had booth fees and some things like that, but that was more of a certainty. The other stuff, you know, they had to try to see what they could do. They had to bring people in and do it. So, yeah, that was kind of it. Well, that's changed a lot. They have added a lot of strange concepts. Well, not strange in marketing terms, because they're very common these days in lots of industries. Everything from, software to Amazon set purchases. It's a lot of the same practices that they use, Ren fairs have started to use. So I started thinking about that and realizing, okay, what are these? So, of course, what did I do? I went to 7 reasons. Yep, that's right. And it's not exactly 7 reasons. It's more 7 ways in which fairs are trying to make more money. And some of it is very reasonable. Some of it, I don't know. And some of it is not even all fairs. Some of it is just a few fairs are starting to do this, and we'll see if they continue. So let's give it a shot, eh? Okay, let's see. Number 7. Now, this is the obvious one, of course. This is tickets, sunset admission groups. I mean, really, tickets, they've done some interesting things of late. Some of the fairs have started doing what I call calendar pricing. It means that one day is differently priced than another day. So usually what they do is the Sundays are not as pricey as the Saturdays. And then some weekends are more expensive, like Pirate Weekend, which is really popular most of the time, are more expensive than some of the other weekends. And it's all variable. And for them, it's a way to try to optimize how much money they make. That's really it. It's a way to justify charging more on a busy weekend that they know they're going to sell out of, so that they just make some more money. And people accept it. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's not, I get it. It is definitely a thing that's been going on. Sunset admission is weird. A few fairs have been doing that, not many, but it's starting to catch on, where you have a very low ticket price if you come in after 3 or 4 p.m. You know, a few hours before the fair ends, you could come in, spend a few hours, and you're paying a small fraction of what a full ticket is. It's an interesting concept. Certainly makes it more complicated. I mean, you look at for instance, you look at the ticket info on the Pennsylvania Ren Fair website, just information about tickets, and it reads like a contract. It's like you're getting a bank loan. It's this long page of all of this information, and just for ticket prices, and you're just kind of like, okay. It really overcomplicates it, but I get it, at least. And then group tickets. Now, that's not new. Group discounts have been going on for decades at a lot of fairs. The concept is, if you get more than 20 people as a group, you get a discount for each ticket. And essentially, it's worth it to them, because it's like they're paying somebody to go out and bring people to the fair who might not go. So in order to get 20 people, you're probably getting some people to do it who wouldn't do it. So overall, the fair is making more money than they would. It really helps out a lot early on in the first 10, 15 years of a fair's development. After that, maybe not as big of a deal. But yeah, right? Yeah, there are definitely theme parks and sporting events and concerts. They've done things like that too, for sure, for sure. And yeah, I mean, it does make sense. It just starts making things more complicated. I mean, I think pretty soon you're going to start getting strategy guides for Faire as far as how to make the most of the experience, and like you do for Disney World or Disneyland, having a strategy guide, because it's starting to get so complicated. I see that as the eventual progression. Like the Texas Renaissance Festival strategy guide. I really see that happening. Somebody's going to put it together if they haven't already. Yeah, really are. So, yeah, I think that's really a lot of it right there. That kind of issue with tickets and the ticket prices. It's just a lot of different options and possibilities. It's not just, I pay this, I get in. You have to really start thinking about how you want to get in and what you want to pay. Yeah, and sometimes you can get people who would already get a bunch of people and kind of game the system, and that tends to be what happens. But there's always a few people that you're short by. You're like, oh, I've got 17, but I need 3 more. Okay, and you call in favors with your friends and bring them, and it's, again, when you look at the discount, the fair is still making more money than they would if 17 people went in without the discount. I mean, it really, they're doing well, and that's the reasoning. It always has helped, I think. It sounds like a deal, but it actually helps out the fair more than it helps us. That's the point I'm making. Right? I thought about doing something like that. I thought it would be interesting. I always imagined doing a guidebook to Faire that was like, kind of like the Indiana Jones Grail Diary. It was kind of like that, but I'm old-fashioned. Oh well. Let's see. Number 6. Yeah. Well, hopefully that won't take as long as this last one did. Oh yeah, this one is hilarious. I've only seen a few fairs do this, but it's starting to catch on. And ticket exchange insurance. Yeah. What they do is when you buy a ticket, especially when you pre-buy a ticket, you don't have the option to change it. It's for that day and that day only, especially when you have different ticket prices for different days. So you can exchange it if the day rains out or something happens at home and you can't go to Faire, you're out that money. No refund, no exchange. But when you buy the ticket, if you purchase ticket exchange insurance, you have the option at any time to exchange that for a different day. And it's not much, it's just a few dollars. But since most of the people that would buy it aren't going to change it, it's just free money for the fair. That's it. I mean, it's like the extended warranty at a retail store. I mean, I'll see if that's, I don't know how I feel about that. That one's a weird one. I'm not really a fan. That just screams nickel and diming to me, honestly. And I think that's one of the weirdest ones on the list. Number 5, the season ticket, season pass, or some fairs are actually calling it a fair subscription. I mean, yeah, it's not some they call it Friends of Faire. I mean, lots of different names. But yeah, it's an interesting process. The season pass, sometimes they have different tiers. And that gets really complicated too, where you have the basic season pass, the regular season pass, and then you have the VIP season pass. And, tiers like that, a lot of places do that, whether you're buying web hosting or you're supporting somebody on Patreon or, anything. They tend to have 3 tiers. It's the most popular by far. It's it's sort of like the marketing version of the shell game, where you direct people where you want them to go. You're trying to get most people to go with the middle tier, and people that are obsessive about going the cheapest route will get the cheap one. People that are obsessive about spending the most money will get the expensive one, but most people will get the middle one. And since you have the expensive one and the low-end one, you can justify the price of the middle one. That's really it. And I'm not a big fan of that, but I could go on and on about that, or we'll be here a while, so I'll stop right there. But yeah, season passes are interesting. Now, season passes tend to be somewhere between 5 days, the equivalent of spending for 5 days at Faire, or as much as 8 days of Faire, depending on the fair and how long it is. But that seems to be the breakdown I've noticed at different fairs. So generally a little less than half of the fair, if you paid for the standard ticket price, about a little less than half. So it's a deal, but it's one of those where if you're already going 2 or 3 weekends, it's worth it. Then you might as well go to a few more and enjoy it and have fun. Why not? But it is really interesting. And they've starting to make it very complicated, where it's not just a season pass. They have a lot of options. And that worries me, because when they make it complicated, my view of it is when they make it complicated, they're trying to trick you, because they want you to not read the fine print because there's too much of it. Yeah, and you're right. There are situations where it is helpful. I definitely think so. And if you're worried about the weather at some fairs, that can be nice too. But really, it should be something they just offer. I mean, it's not hard to make a change. They're just charging you for the privilege. Yeah. And that's kind of it. Some people just want to feel like a VIP. Yeah, that is true. Other fairs have done the same thing. They have a season pass, and then they have a Friends of Faire, which is sort of like it's kind of like a cross between a season pass and a fan club. I mean, I know I'm oversimplifying, but they are different. They are different. But yeah, they have all of these different options. And make no mistake, season pass and Friends of Faire, those are tiers. Those are, what do they call that? Oh gosh. All right. Differential pricing. Yes. Getting into serious marketing right now. Yeah, this one was actually a hard 7 reasons to get put together, because I realized I researched it like crazy, and I realized that I could easily fall into the pit of making a lot of moral arguments. And because marketing, I'm not a huge fan of marketing, because I find it pretty nefarious in many ways. But yeah, I have to try to keep a bit of an open mind and just say, yeah, some of it does make sense, and there are situations it does. Yeah, and I agree. It's one of those where it's mostly perceived benefits, not actual ones. I mean, it's yeah, that's how I would put it anyway. So, okay, number 4, and I mentioned this a little bit, but discounted advance tickets. Now, this is something also that's been going on for a long time. Back before the internet was really huge with buying things, what they would do for a lot of the bigger fairs, well, they weren't so big back then, but still, they would have discount tickets or discount coupons at local grocery stores or the local 7-Elevens or something like that. They'd have a deal going with some of the local food places, and you'd go by and get a discount coupon, or sometimes pre-buy a ticket at the grocery store. That was kind of wild when you did that. So that they've done things like that in the past, but then when you could buy tickets online, that changed everything. And then you can get discounted tickets. Now the trick is finding the right time to do it. At least the trick for the fair. They try to push it as far enough in front of the fair as they can get away with, to try to, but also not so far so that they also get some free publicity. One of the hardest things for fair is that first weekend. That's usually the least attended weekend at fair, because, well, people forget the fair is going on. They get wrapped up in their lives, reasonable, but they do. And then they hear about, oh, you went to fair this weekend? It was the first weekend? Oh, okay, I'll go to the next one. A lot of people forget that. So the more word they get out there that, oh, the fair's starting this weekend, the more people they can get out that first weekend. It really helps. And I think that's kind of how it started, but it's turned into a weird back and forth of marketing strategies to try to placate the bargain seekers, but also to ensure that you avoid scalpers. And that's always been a problem with tickets. People trying to get them for cheap and then resell them for more. And that's been a process that the fairs have had to deal with. Yeah, and that's true. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And it's that freedom. Like I said, if you're going for more than 2 weekends, it's worth it. It usually is, without a doubt. And even if just 2 weekends, probably still worth it. It encourages you to go a little more, and then you have complete freedom. You don't want to go that weekend? No worry, you'll go next. And that's, yeah, I don't want to knock season passes, because I think there is definitely a nice aspect to them. And while some fairs do, I think, mark them a little higher than I think they should, I haven't seen a fair mark them ridiculously high, where I just thought, oh, that's just robbery. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. They did do some interesting sales. Actually, TRF, they did some very aggressive sales and marketing back in the day. They did stuff that very few fairs did, going back 30, 40 years ago. It was quite amazing. They were definitely the model for a lot of other fairs, at least one of them. Mm. And that's fair. That's totally fair. Want to support the event, and I get that. Quite possibly, yeah. I think I would, Dan. Put discounted return tickets. Yeah. Now that's a good point. And honestly, I know some people that like going on rain days. The rain days are their favorites because not as many people show up, and everything's different. The performers are doing not their standard show because some of them can't, and it's generally people just kind of, after a certain point, they're like, doesn't matter, and they just have fun, and that's kind of cool. So if you can handle it, rain days aren't bad, but you have to be okay with water and mud sometimes. Number three. And this one's an obvious one: parking. Now, most fairs do free parking, for basic parking anyway. Some fairs charge for parking, and then there are fairs that do special parking. I mean, I'm not talking about the handicap parking or anything like that. That's separate. But they'll do special parking for Friends of Fair kind of thing. They'll have a Friends of Fair parking lot or parking area, and it's usually close to the front gate. So it's that bonus reason to do that. Also, they'll do sometimes a preferred parking that you pay extra money for. It's like an extra ticket to get fairly close to the front gate. And then there are a few fairs that even do valet. So if you want to go to Faire feeling like a rock star, you can go and do valet parking at Faire. That's crazy. Yeah, some fairs have problems with that. I've been to a few fairs where they actually have a tractor on standby, ready to go every fair day, just anticipating having to pull cars out. It happens, and it's better to be prepared for it if you can. Yeah, never easy. Never easy. Okay, jumping over to number 2, camping. Now, camping is an interesting one because sometimes camping's free, but there are not many fairs that actually do camping. There are some, but definitely a minority. And it's different. And some fairs, what they'll do is when they first start out, they'll have camping, and then they start growing and they run out of space. And they're kind of like, yeah, we're not doing camping anymore. As an example, I remember camping at the Castle of Muskogee a long time ago. They don't do camping anymore, but they did then. This was back in 2000. Wow. Yeah. 25 years ago. Wow. Okay. Lose sleep over that. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Those gravel roads sometimes can be a problem. So yeah, camping is one of those things where, honestly, from everything I've heard, fairs tend to not make much money from camping. There might be a few that do, but most that do camping, they're just trying to cover their bases. I mean, when you have camping, you have to have the infrastructure, you have to have the facilities, showers, toilets, all that kind of thing for people. Then you also need security all night long. I mean, you got to have that ready, and medical services all night long available. I mean, this isn't something you can. You got to be prepared. It does cost money, and then if you supply electricity to campers sometimes and all of that, it starts to become a thing. So usually, what they're charging just covers that cost. And some fairs, the camping's very reasonably priced, and it's not bad. They're not really making any money. It's mainly a way they're looking at it as, hey, it's extended parking, and the people that camp are coming in for the whole weekend and probably multiple weeks, and they are going to, and probably the whole run, and they are going to come in and be a big part of the fair and spend a lot of money. And it's putting some time in for the long term. And camping, I don't really have much of a problem with. I think generally they do it fairly well. And that's part of it. You're not wrong about supply and demand. It can be rough. I mean, one of the problems that fairs tend to have is they grow a lot more than they dreamed possible. And then they have no more parking. They don't have any more land for parking. So they're kind of in a pickle until they can buy more land around them. And sometimes if they've grown that much, the land around them is probably worth a lot more than it used to be. So it's a tough call. It's a tough call. So yeah, but camping, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting route, and I'm glad that some fairs do it. I wish more fairs did it, honestly, but I totally understand infrastructure-wise, it's not always easy or possible. So yeah. Generally, I don't know. I'd love to check and see what the actual percentage of fairs that offer camping are. I would put it under 20%, honestly, but I don't know the exact number. I'd be curious, though. Let's see, number 1, and this one is an interesting one, special events. And what I mean by that is you have back in the day at Faire, you tended to have feast halls, King's Feast, where you would have a dinner theater kind of thing, where you'd have 50, 75, 100 people in a feast hall room. And they would be provided food, and the king would be there, and there'd be little entertainment and events going on in between courses. And Yeah, think about it like medieval times, if you've ever been to one of those restaurants, kind of concept, but in miniature and at Faire. So if you wanted to really have that feeling of, hey, I just ate a pheasant with the king kind of feeling, you can get that. Now, it's a little pricey, but people really liked it. Well, they've expanded that a lot these days to things like pub crawls and, different tastings, wine tastings, beer tastings, whiskey tastings, very popular. And then you also get, also quests. Some fairs have started doing quests. Now, there are some groups that do those as well. But some fairs have started to try to do it themselves. But yeah, it's they're trying to really just find these different events so where they can make extra income streams. That's really what it is. A lot of diversification is going on right now. Some fairs actually do the food and the games at their fair, and that is a huge amount, a great income stream. Some didn't. So it is tough. Yeah, you're not wrong, Dan. Yeah, the New Jersey does the after hours show, and they're not the only ones. I've been to other fairs that did as well. It's becoming more popular to do those late night shows, and I think some of them have been very successful. Some of them have had some success and some not so much. It depends on the night. And I think that some of them are just kind of figuring it out still, trying to lock in what works and what doesn't. But it is going well. When I remember when New Jersey had Jacques the Whipper, yeah, they had a good night. It was huge. Yeah, they really good crowd. So anyway, it's already 7:47. I'm really gone over. So we will stop right here and jump over from the 7 reasons. Oh yeah, what do you do on a fair quest? Think about it as kind of like a scavenger hunt in a way, but it's kind of an interactive scavenger hunt. And I know I'm not being fair because there's a lot more to it than that, a lot more you can do, and not all of them are the same. But generally there's clues around, and you go try to figure out the clues and do things, and sometimes retrieve things, and it's kind of, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot of variations of it, but that's kind of what it is. Yeah, thanks, Harvey. Yeah, that's another thing. I didn't even want to cover that in this because, fairs will also open up special events throughout the year, but I'm concentrating just on what they do during that fair, not at other times. Yeah, they'll have a Halloween type thing or a Dickens Christmas fest thing in the off season, or sometimes they'll rent the space out. I've seen fairs that rented it out for LARPers, even paintball groups going at a fair site and playing. I believe me, that was not a good idea. They learned from that. But yeah, fairs have tried a lot of different things to try to earn money in the off season, and sometimes it can work very well. Yeah. And thank you. And I'll be driving, and next Monday, wish me luck, and I'll get in that evening. So probably right about when the show would start is when I'll be pulling in into the Austin area. So, but if all goes well, the next show, I'll be able to tell you about the first weekend at Sherwood. So that will be great. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to Sherwood so much. I've been suffering from withdrawal from Faire. I enjoyed Faire of Champions a lot, but having a few weekends off, I started to get used to that steady stream of Faire, and I'm looking forward to it. Sherwood is going to be a fun time. It always is. So take care. Yeah, kind of. I mean, it can be. It can be. It can be kind of like a role-playing game. It can be like a scavenger hunt. I mean, I've seen different groups treat it different ways, Janine. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they'll do Pirate Fest in the off season, definitely. And yeah, so I will let you go now since it's already 7:50 and this is getting dangerously close to the longest show I've ever done, and we don't want that. But take care. Have a good week, or good couple of weeks, I guess, since that'll be the next time I see you. And remember, if you can get to a fair, do, because there's nothing like a fair life. Take care.